Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick video helping you as you go through your storyboard, start your project, or maybe you're even in the improve phase. Wanted to remind you, like the P of the SIPOC, to focus on what must be done, not how it is done. Don't try to think about doing the whole project and what you have to do. Think about instead what is the next slide in your storyboard. So I'll give you a quick example. If I'm in the define phase, right? If I'm in the define phase, I need to say the problem with the Y metric, right? So I need to tell people what I'm working on. Lee is 250. Cycle time to do X is 8 minutes, etc. Okay, and then you just need to give us a goal. Reduce to 225 or reduce to 6 minutes. And remember, define, just very specific, what's the metric we're working on, what are we going to get it to. Now, there's other things in define, of course, business case, etc., but that's the major thing in the define phase. Tell us what you're trying to fix, all right? So then we go to measure, right? And so what do I need to do next? Well, in the measure phase, I just simply need to prove the problem exists, right? So don't get caught up in what chart or graph I need to do at first. Think about what it is I need to accomplish. I need to prove that the problem exists. And then remember, we have two types of data, continuous and discrete, right? And basically the measure phase will be nothing like getting a battery notification during your presentation. The measure phase will be done based on the type of data, okay? But I'm really just proving that the problem exists, all right? We don't believe you. So then you say, all right, well, I've proved that the problem exists. And remember why it's so important. Lee is 250. Well, that is a separate issue. Lee became 250. That's different than Lee has always been 250, right? So same thing with discrete data. You're working on downtime, right? Well, do you want to work on every type of downtime, or do you want to focus on a specific type of downtime, right? So Starbucks exercise, M&M exercise. So now you go to the analyze phase. You say, well, what am I trying to tell people in the analyze phase? Well, really, what are the X's, right? What are the root causes? So and then really just, I mean, the analyze phase is just like, how did you find them? Or maybe it's better to say what made you think of them. So again, we learned fishbone as an example, but that doesn't mean you have to do a fishbone. Fishbone's really more a team-based exercise when you've got a group of people together. You might just say, I sat down with a napkin, and these are the things that I thought of. Or as I was watching the process, I saw this, and I wondered if it happened over and over again. So that's really the piece of the analyze phase. And now remember, of course, we had a decision in there. Do we want to focus on process, right? So value stream mapping, all our lean tools. Or do we want to focus on the data side? Does one shift make more defects than another? Does one machine take longer than another? But what you're accomplishing in the analyze phase is telling people what you thought the X's were and how you came up with those ideas, right? And by the way, take pictures throughout this whole storyboard. Sometimes that's the best way to convey it. Then you get to improve. So many of you are near the improve phase, and you need to go back and make a storyboard. Well, it's so easy to talk about the solution, right? The solution is, but tie it back to what was the X. The X or X's, right? So it's like saying, again, Lee shouldn't drink wine, or the reason it took 8 minutes and not 6 was that the machine was running slow or not set at the right speed. But we need to know how you came up with that X, right? And then how does your solution fix it? So there's some real definite more detail in this improve phase of my solution is going to fix the following root cause, and here's how I found it. Right? So this is a real important phase. And then lastly, if you're going to go to the control phase, make it stay fixed, right? So you say, well, again, the emphasis here is poka-yoke. If we can make it impossible for the root cause to occur, we don't have a control phase. If not, I got to make it stay fixed. So if you say something, I'm going to update the policy, we're going to do training. Well, we need to see the new policy. When was the training done? What does the training look like? So who's going to own it? And that's probably the big one, I would say, out of the control phase. Who owns the solution? Right? That's key, because we don't want to have to go back and fix the same issue again. So again, focus on the next slide in your storyboard, not overwhelming yourself with, do I do this tool? Do I do that tool? Focus on what must be done. And then when you know what must be done, then you can pick the tool that will help you solve it.